So it probably seems pretty quiet up here from your point of view, but many things happen here every day. We are in a drought, and at the same time, I've never seen on Sonoma Mountain so many flowers blooming in the drought. And families being born or being born and are born, have been born on the mountains during the drought. Little does, little deers as big as cats and dogs running around, but always following the mother. And of course, it goes along with many butterflies are coming, and the new beehive that Brian helped make with this a woman beekeeper. It has been a new sight for us on this mountain. So instead of smoking the bees, we smoke ourselves. How would you like to be smoked? That's the Buddhist way, to smoke yourself, right? Naturally, if you smoke the bees, they'll be angry. But so we smoke ourselves. So that's a very interesting thing. In fact, there's a word, apophatic. And I tried to look up in the dictionary, but I couldn't find it anymore. But it means to work with the negative. Negativity. You know, you spray yourself instead of the bees. A few weeks ago, Kathy Dennison gave me a picture of the moon in just coming out of its eclipse. And it was so beautiful because it was the same size as the bud of the peony on my vase. The bulb and the moon were exactly the same size. And it's the shadow of us, of the earth, when it fully eclipses the moon, bright peony color. It's the shadow of us. That makes for a very unusual sight. The first time I heard about eclipse of the moon, I thought that everything would. Have you ever seen an eclipse of the moon? A full eclipse? Not many. Or maybe everybody. But I thought the first time I saw it, I thought I didn't know what was going to happen. We got all our chairs lined up on the Sonoma Mountain Road, and then the eclipse happened. And I thought before that, I thought everything would black out. But no, there are still other stars beaming. And the moon turns to, it's covered by our shadow that gives us this brilliant color of pink peony. Yeah, negativity. So in Zen, that's what we work with, our negativity. Uchiyama Roshi says, we are a culture and civilization that knows a lot about, not just knows, but practices. And we are conditioned by the inhalation breath. The negative breath is the exhalation. We need to learn to exhale more. Inhalation means I take, I keep, I hold. This is mine, and this stays here. Exhalation means your compassion. It's your giving breath. It's your strength breath when you execute something, when you throw a ball, when you swing a bat. It's compassion is your strength breath, your giving breath, and also your last breath So we know where we're going with the last breath. So we are, what would you say, reconditioning our inhalation breath to balance it with our exhalation breath. We need to do this very badly. In fact, in school or in our culture, we're not, we have no lessons into knowing how to breathe and where to breathe from. What is breathing about? Okay. And so, yes, the bees, and just last Friday on our lunchtime, we celebrated a newcomer. It was a new ladder, a new ladder that extends to great heights, and you can use it as a scaffold, and you just click these things, and there it goes. And we gave it a name, Choki, little breath, little spirit. And there's somebody that's Alexander Cook from Texas doing Tangario right now. Tangario means you sit in a room by yourself before you enter into a temple. And you sit there for many days. And the poetic version of Tangario means you watch the sun rise from your shoji screen to see when the sun disappears. These are traditional ways to work with your small self, the idea of small self, the idea of only the inhalation breath. Actually, in Zen practice, are you ready to give up the idea of self? This is the whole point. In fact, when soldiers are going to join the army, I doubt it if they really realize that they're giving up their bodies until they're in battle. And so the same for us. When we're studying Zen, we're questing for the true self, for your self, the real self nature, not the nature who you think you are, but the nature that's one with the universe. So I want to, today, I'd like to show you some calligraphy, and I have to speak about the person who made this calligraphy first before I tell you about this calligraphy. So I'm gonna put her on the screen. Okay, let's see. Share screen. Yeah. Share. Let's see. Share screen. Excuse me for a minute. Okay. So everybody sees this poem? Can you see it? Okay, good. So just for a little background on the Zen master that did the calligraphy of Tozan Ryokai. He's one of our great ancestors. Let's see, his name was, here's his name over here, Kobun. And Kobun Otagawa was one of the first, besides Suzuki Roshi, after Suzuki Roshi, he was one of the first Zen teachers that came over from Japan. And it was, I remember him as my example of what a Zen monk would be like. And he was younger than Suzuki Roshi. I think maybe he was in his early 40s, and he was not married. But I would really watch him, everything he did, even when his Kuromo touched the ground, or should it touch the ground, because we had never seen a Zen monk outside of the temple. Suzuki Roshi was mostly inside the temple. And I was impressed by his mannerism, his composure, his compassion, and his joy for life. And I think this joy exuded from him because it was a kind of outpouring of love and joy that he knew that you all, each living being, has the same potential of the great realization of the nature reality within themselves. And that's what he shared with everybody. I remember in the 60s when Suzuki Roshi used to serve us on his hands and knees tea. Of course, there was only 12 of us, but he did that. And I really didn't know why he did that, but it was the same outpouring of joy and love and compassion for what you originally have. So when I went to Poland, Suzuki Roshi died in December 4th, 1971. We began going to Poland probably in the mid 80s. And in the session, we'd have at least 60 or 70 students. I would do the same thing. I would do what Suzuki Roshi did, but I didn't know why he was doing it because I didn't quite yet have that outpouring of love and compassion. I was copying what he did, and through copying what some particular person does, you begin to understand why he is doing it. In fact, in olden times, we used to mimic or copy people. And I think that what was the essence of why we did that. But now we have more individualism. We don't want to copy anything. We just want to be ourselves. But we are that copying, or that it's a kind of transmission to what that person, him or her, has within themselves that is found within ourselves. That's the whole purpose of the Dharma. It's in ourselves. So yeah, he was my hero. And it came to the point that, also when we practiced together, he was the first one that gave me a V-neck t-shirt. Now, what would that mean to just an ordinary person? A V-neck t-shirt means that your juban is not hidden. It's in tune. It wears with your juban. Your t-shirt doesn't show, and it means that maybe someday you become ordained. It's that kind of subtlety. It's not like you should wear this, but there's a subtlety behind everything, and especially in Zen. So let's see, Suzuki Roshi, after he died, he asked the San Francisco Zen Center to continue the transmission ceremony, to complete it with me. But they may have not known what to do. But anyway, Kobun came to my rescue. And what he did was that he had Doksan, an interview with Rinzai Zen master at that time, called Yamada, Mummon Yamada Roshi. And in Doksan, he asked him, what could we do with Jakusho transmission ceremony? And Mummon Yamada said, you have to help him because the same thing happened to him. His teacher died before he could give him transmission. So Kobun decided to do exactly that. And for the next 5 years, I had to go travel from Sonoma Mountain to, I think he lived in Los Altos then. It was maybe nearly 200 miles every Wednesday for the next 5 years. And I was thinking maybe it would be a kind of ideal situation. You're going to go study with your favorite Zen monk on top of a mountain with nobody in between or something. But actually, it was a family situation. He had to take care of the children, and I had to even bring Damien. Damien was 3 years old and with me sometimes to babysit. We both had to babysit while we were studying the Dharma. But then we didn't know which was the Dharma, babysitting or the Dharma itself. But the whole thing was. And I mean, even one night coming back with Nyoze, we had a flat tire on 101. We had to just take care of things like everybody else does. So Kobun was just waiting for me. He was teaching me everything. And I wasn't sure what transmission even meant. He was giving me everything that he had. And one morning, I think it was almost 5 years now, I woke up and I noticed a fallen scroll next to me that was above the altar that fell. And I woke up with that experience. And so and at the same time, that fallen scroll was given to me by the late Maizumi Roshi. And it was in kanji, Japanese kanji. So I didn't know what it said. And he took a pencil out and he wrote right on the face of the scroll, "You must penetrate the barrier." So what does that mean? You must penetrate the barrier. You must give up the idea of the self. That's basically it. You have to give up the idea of yourself. So this is kind of the background. And one more thing about Kobun Otagawa Roshi was that one day I heard that he committed suicide, and I was just so disheartened. He was in Switzerland, and he found his daughter Maya drowned in a pond, a very small pond, and Kobun was extremely physical. So how could he have died in the pond? Why would Kobun commit suicide? And there's a ancient historical fact, which our tradition calls shashin. Sha means giving up the body, giving up of the self. And you've heard, like in tradition, in ancient Buddhist lore, that someone gave their life to feed the hungry lion so she could feed the cubs. People drown, people immolate themselves. The Bodhisattva of medicine, when he went to the Buddhists, he immolated himself. And this was not called suicide. This was the ultimate sacrifice, self-immolation. So you remember 1963, Thich Quang Duc immolated himself at his temple, Tien Tu Mu. And Sister Fong, who is closely related to us, she was there and witnessed it. And the atmosphere was completely calm. The hundreds of people, the hundreds of monks and nuns there was completely calm as they poured gasoline over Thich Quang Duc and lit the match. And he immolated himself in protest against the persecution against Buddhists. So this relates to when Kobun saw his daughter. I said very emphatically to his Sangha when I saw it in their newsletter that he committed suicide. He did not commit suicide. He committed what they call shishin, the ultimate sacrifice of giving up your body. When he saw Maya, very small pond, he had a coat on because it was very cold in Switzerland. He jumped into the pond to join Maya because he knew that she had already drowned. Anyway, there are many stories behind these events, and this is, I couldn't present this calligraphy without telling you there's stories behind these words. And even the person who, we haven't even gone to the story about Tozan, who wrote the poem. To is, we have Dogen created a school called the Soto Shu. And we should know this school. Dogen created it. And the So comes from Soke. Soke is the mountain where the sixth ancestor lived. And To comes from Tozan, our ancestor. And so that's how you have Soto. To means cave. Okay, let's go to the poem. Okay, here's the beginning. Do you see it? Can everyone see it? Huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'm pointing to Sei. Sei-san. Sei is the color blue. And oftentimes you may see in a tanka or an Asian painting that a Buddha is painted this color, blue, almost like atmospheric perspective when you see it in an oil painting, a blue color, but not bright blue, and not deep blue, but in between blue. And also this word can be also be green. So sei means blue or green, but it has a very profound meaning to it. Blue mountain and mountain. And I just learned that when Kashin went to Nisoto to study, her teacher's name is Aoyama. And Sei-san can mean Io, and Yama means mountain. Blue, her name, one of her names is Blue Mountain. That's uh, a very high name. Blue Mountain, and here we have white, Haku, Haku, Un, white cloud, and this is father. So it would be say san, hak, you drop the U of Hakun, fa. Oh, I'm sorry, fu. Okay, so you have white cloud, a blue mountain, white cloud, father. Next line, from top to bottom, Haku un, again, Seisan, blue mountain, sun. Next line, and you kind of notice that I'm not very good at translating, but I just feel it's safe if I just follow the same layout Tozan did. So you see two hakus in the middle and two sei, blues on the end. So again, haku, haksun. And this word is shu, night, nichi. So this means, it means actually per se finish, shu, and this is day, but it means all day long. And this character here is ho, meaning while. So white mountain down below, white clouds intermingling. See, I put the verb in because Chinese don't have verbs. Everything's in the present. White clouds intermingling all day long, while blue mountains completely or totally or thoroughly does not know. Blue Mountain completely don't know. So this is a poem about negativity, apophatic again. But the don't know is not the don't know that we ordinarily use in our language. Don't know means that the self, the idea of self, has been given up. Don't know also means like when Bodhidharma came from ancient Ceylon to China, when he met the king, the emperor, Emperor Wu, Emperor Wu confronted him and asked him who he was. And Bodhidharma even said, I don't know. And if you said that to the king, he would execute you. But still he said it, I don't know. So this not knowing is without the idea of ourself. This don't know is when your thinking mind comes to its end and you can't think anymore. You can't think about the question. So the question would be, what is the sound of one hand? Can you answer that with your ordinary thinking mind? You cannot answer it. And this is why the koans came about. Don't know. So the thinking mind goes so far, then it reaches its limit. And you don't know after that. This is don't know mind. Thank you.